I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So the last video I put up was a nostalgia game between my Necrons and my friend Billy's AdMech from back in the day when I was first learning how to play. So it didn't take me long to learn how to play 8th edition with the Necrons, and my friends quickly started not wanting to play against them, mainly because 8th edition reanimation and 8th edition quantum shielding. So I had to pick a different faction so I could play against them. So I decided to go with the Night Lords because Conrad Kurz just seemed like a really awesome character to me. So I went ahead with Night Lords, and then found out later that he wasn't even alive in the 40th, Millennium thing, which kind of sucked. So this will be my nostalgia game. My friend Billy bought a Night Castellan for his AdMech, and it just destroyed the Night Lords that I had at the time, and I had to save up some money so that I could buy my own Chaos Knight so that I could take it on. And it was very satisfying to kill it in real life for the first time. So a couple of days ago, I thought about it, and I went out and bought a Death Guard Combat Patrol to expand my factional choices. I got all the models put together, so now I just gotta prime them and paint them up, add them to my ever-large pile of painting shame. Alright, so we're going to use the whole 4x6 table today. There are a large amount of Night Lords to be dealt with, so we've got this plateau hill thing over here. Kind of a little corner plateau thing there with this little hill here. The mostly always present fountain. Good times. Be another happy little pan sweep of the thing here. Alright, take a look at the armies, and we'll do some deployment. And hopefully I can watch a Chaos Knight just completely destroy a Night Castellan. Alright, so here we have the entirety of Bleak's Adeptus Mechanicus army, led by Belisarius Call, followed by the... I can never remember. So according to Billy, the canon lore thing is that Rabute Gillinan has a Space Marine who follows Belisarius Call around and just watches him do everything. So this is his lore attempt to do that. And in keeping with that, I just have him follow him around. The Space Marine does literally nothing. He can't die, he can't take any damage, he just follows Call. So we also have a Tech Priest Dominus and an Engine Seer. We have 10 Rangers, 10 Vanguard. The Vanguard will be riding in the, I believe that's the Scorpius Doomshredder. 5 Sicarian Ruststalkers, 3 Cataphan Breachers, 2 Castellan Robots, and an Iron Stridey Ballistari. So we also have this Night House here, and that Night Castellan on the back has been my nemesis for as long as I can remember. The 3 Armiger Warglaves aren't that bad, but I swear, when my friend bought this thing, my Necrons just defecated all of themselves because this thing was just terrible and naughty. And in fact, I specifically bought that night just to fight this thing. So yeah, all that being said, here's the AdMech portion of the game. So yeah, technically this is a lot larger than the games that I used to use these guys with back in the day, but that's a lot more AdMech than he used to have in the beginning too, so comes out to about the same. Then we have a Chaos Lord, a Chaos Sorcerer who knows Prescience and Diabolic Strength, a Master of Possession who knows Infernal Gaze, a Master of Executions. We got a whole lot of these Chaos Legionnaires. So we got 10 here, so a Power Fist and a Plasma Pistol on the Champion, then a Flamer and a Heavy Bolter. I got a chain axe and a plasma pistol with this grouping, a heavy bolter and an autocannon. So, group of 9, it's only one special weapon for these guys. Need to start each chainsword and a plasma pistol, and then the special weapon's a missile launcher. Then a group of 8. Again, the chainsword, plasma pistol, and these guys have a plasma gun. 10 crappy cultists. 5 havocs. 2 with the las cannon, 1 with the heavy bolter, and then 1 with the reaper chain cannon. 5 warp talons will be hanging out in the oubliette. Well, I guess they're not the oubliette. A teleportarium, or whatever it is that they do, flying above the battlefield. A venom crawler. A Hellbrute, who with the twin las cannon and a Hellbrute fist with a heavy flamer. 2 obliterators, who will also be hanging out in some sort of trans-dimensional space, just waiting to hop in. My kit-bashed warpsmith, who will be hanging out with my Night Desecrator exclusively. And my Night Desecrator. The laser destructor and the Reaper chainsword. I could gush for hours on this one model. I love it so much. And the fact that I was able to finally kill this thing against Billy, it definitely made my day. So hopefully history can repeat itself. And I mean, I've done it a number of times on the channel, but this will be the first time the Night Lords and the Admech have fought ever on the channel, and in a really long time otherwise. So I'm super excited about this. It's been a grip of time. So I guess I'm going to put my money on the Night Lords because I'm an evil guy. And in the end, these guys still worship the Emperor in one way, shape, or form. So down with the Corpse Emperor, up with Truth. Either way, I'm going to reset up the board, roll deployment, and I'm going to have me an awesome good time. Okay, so the Adeptus Mechanicus won the deployment roll-up. They chose this side. They're all grouped up nice and happy over there. So we got our Rangers out front with the Breachers, the Knight Castellan, Dominus, and the Doomstrider with the Vanguard inside. Belisarius Call and his Minder. And then on this side, kind of what I feel is like the robot side. Got the Armored Warglaives in the back, the Scarian Ruststalkers in the middle, and then the Castellan robots, and the Iron Strider on the far corner side thing there. The engine seer is hanging out with these Castellan robots. Hope they live a little longer. I don't know. So that leaves the Night Lords to deploy on this side. So one of the big groups of Space Marines, this is the Autocannon Heavy Bolter Squad, Venom Crawler behind them. The Night Desecrator, he only has one job. I'm hoping he comes through with it. Hellbrute in front with the Master of Executions. Sorcerer in the back, behind these lowly crappy cultists. Chaos Lord, the other group of 10 Space Marines with the Heavy Bolter and the Flamer. On this hill we have the Master of Possessions and the group of 9, so they're the Missile Launcher, and the Havocs, and the Plasma Gun up there. The Obliterators and the Warp Talons will just hop in when they see fit. And yeah, good times. Having said all that, the Night Lords did not steal, so we'll start with Adeptus Mechanicus. Round 1. Movement. So everything except for the Knight Castellan and the Iron Strider advanced forward. These two guys just moved. There aren't any psychers for these guys, so it's just a shooting phase then. So the only things we're able to shoot were the Knight Castellan and the Iron Strider. The Iron Strider failed to wound the Knight Castellan dumped everything it had into the Hell Brute, doing a decent amount of damage but not killing it. The Knight Castellan did suffer a point of damage from the Plasma Decimator because I supercharged it, because why not? But yeah, definitely nobody's in room to charge, so that'll make it the Necron turn for movement. Alright, so the Diabolical Boys in Blue are definitely going way up the side here, so the Havocs are just going to hang out. The Knight just moved forward a little bit, but everybody else advanced. This will be the time for the Psyker phase, because there are two of them here, but because everybody advanced, nobody can shoot except for the Knight. I've looked and I don't think I can give that guy anything awesome, so yeah, we'll just go straight to the Night Lord shooting phase. So much like the Admech, only the Knight and the Havocs could shoot. So the Knight actually managed to kill off one of these Rangers with its heavy stubber, and it did a couple of points of damage to the Knight Castellan with the Laser Destructor. The Havocs up on the top of the hill there did a couple of points of damage to that way over there Armiger Warglaive. Still too far away for anybody to charge anybody, but that's probably going to change here shortly. Maybe, I guess. Yeah, there's really nothing else that can be done for the Night Lords, so that'll make it the Admech turn for movement. So the forces of Mars continue pushing forward here. Nobody advanced. Everybody just moved their full distance. The Rangers got up here on the hill. The Dominus and the Engine Seer both healed their respective dudes. The Knight Castellan got a little bit of health. The Warglaive down there on the end got put back up to full. Dune Strider hopping out here in the middle, hopefully to soak up some bullets before the Vanguard can hop out. No Psykers, which leads me to think that these guys and Drukhari would be great friends, since Drukhari have good technology and also no Psykers. That's just me thinking out loud. I mean, maybe the Dark Mechanicus somewhere making awesome trades with the Drukhari. That's a pleasant thought, actually. By the way, it'll be the Admech shooting phase. Alright, that was kind of an exciting round, actually. Oh, phase, yeah. It's an exciting phase. So these Rangers did a point of damage to these Space Marines over here. The Knight Castellan killed off the Hellbrute, did a bunch of damage to the Venom Crawler. And then both of these Warglaives teamed up and killed off the two last cannons Havoc dudes. Still too far away to charge for anybody, so that'll make it the Night Lord turn. Movement. Alright, so the bulk of the Warband army thing here, moving their way slowly out into the middle area. Everybody just moved up except for the Havocs, who are just hanging out. Over here, the two Obliterators and the Warp Talons have dropped out of their little warp thing. So for the Psyker phase, the Sorcerer, guy in the middle there, is going to try and manifest prescience on these guys. Alright, so that goes off on a 7. That's an 8. So these guys have a +1 to hit in the shooting phase for this round. Well, having said that, that'll take us into the shooting phase, so I'll start with these guys for that. So even with prescience, these guys were unable to do anything about it. His heavy stubber failed to hit on the Ruststalkers, but he did a significant amount of damage to the Knight Castellan. The Knight Desecrator here. The Havoc's up here. Did a couple points of damage to the Warglaive that's up on the hill there. So these obliterators over here managed to kill off the engines here that was hanging out at the back here. And nobody else was really in range to hit anything or shoot or participate. I'm not going to charge the transport. I probably should, but I'm not going to charge it. It would have been the only charge I could have made, so that'll make it the admech turn for movement. Alright, so the majority of the admech forces are either in the central area here or about to be. Pretty much everybody moved up, nobody advanced. Most everybody is definitely going to be close enough to charge. These Warglaives are definitely going to be threatening on these Space Marines over here. And the Castellan robots have turned around to take care of these guys in the back row here. New Psychers. Yeah. So that'll make it the admech shooting phase. This is going to be a long round. Long phase? Long turn? Something. Long phase. Alright, that was kind of ridiculous. So the Rangers here actually managed to kill off one of these Space Marines and do a point of damage to another one. The Breachers killed off the Master of Executions. It took pretty much everything that this Knight Castellan had to kill off the Venom Crawler that was back here. This Warglaive killed a couple of these Space Marines. The Warglaive on the ground killed off a couple of the Chaos Space Marines in the middle there. The Warglaive on the hill killed another Havoc. So yeah, that'll take us to the shooting, or not the shooting phase, the charge phase, the fun phase. So we're gonna have the Ruststalkers charge the cultists. The Breachers will also charge into the cultists. And then both of these Warglaives are going to charge into the Space Marines on this hill. So this should be a good time. Alright, so everybody actually made their charges. Nobody suffered any damage from Overwatch. The Ruststalkers killed off 6 of the cultists, and the Breachers killed off the rest. Over here, the 2 Warglaives between them managed to kill off 4 of the Chaos Space Marines, and they suffered no damage in return. Alright, well, those guys actually passed their leadership test. Morale, whatever. I'm kind of surprised. So that'll make it the Night Lord turn for movement. All of the Night Lords are going to continue surging forwards out of the back area here. All of these guys have just moved up. These guys have as well, and the Chaos Knight is hopped up here on the hill. The guys that are in combat are going to stay in combat, and the Havocs are just going to hang out here on the top area. So the Sorcerer is going to try and manifest prescience on this front group. That is not a 7. Alright, well, they don't get the bonus, and we'll go to the Night Lord shooting phase. I was starting to think that my Chaos dice just didn't really like me tonight because they've been rolling crap for damage and saves for the majority of this game so far, but they kind of came back a little bit. So this big blob here managed to kill off 6 of these guys, which is nice. Chaos Knight did 6 points of damage to this guy, which was also nice. So this front group of Space Marines killed off 3 of the Sicarian Ruststalkers. And between the two of them, the obliterators killed off one of the Castle robots and did a point of damage to the other one. Playing field looks smaller now for some reason. That'll take us to the charge phase. So this front group of, I guess they're legionnaires now. This front group of legionnaires is going to multi-charge into the Ruststalkers and the Breachers. And the Chaos Lord will also charge into the Breachers. This squad of Space Marine legionnaires is going to try and charge into these Rangers. Let's see if they make the distance. And then the probably doomed fight over here between the 3 legionnaires and the Armored Warglaives. So, fighting in combat. So, both groups of Space Marines made their charges. The Chaos Lord did not. So, these guys actually managed to kill off all of the Ruststalkers. Didn't, and well, yeah, they did kill off the wounded Breacher and did not lose any on their own. So, that wasn't terrible. These guys lost their wounded dude in the Overwatch experience, but just murdered the last 3 Rangers. And these 3 guys tried, but to no avail. They lost their lives to the Armored Warglaives. No morale for anybody, so that was fun. AdMech shooting phase. Probably not the last round, but probably going to lose a lot of Night Lords in this turn. These guys are way, way close. The Tech Priest Dominus and Belisarius Call heal the Night Castellan for 4 health. Okay, so things are starting to look pretty dire for the Night Lords. The Vanguard all dropped out of the Doomstrider and it just kind of moved a little further away. Breachers have fallen back, leaving these guys open to gun attacks. The Armiger has moved up. Belisarius moved up. Night Castellan moved up. The Castellan robot back there is heading off towards the Obliterators, while these 2 Warglaives have surrounded the remaining 2 Havocs. Good times. Alright, so the AdMech shooting phase. The Warglaives definitely killed off the Havocs. So it took the combined efforts of the Vanguard, this Warglaive, the Ballistari, and the Night Castellan. But they managed to kill off all of the Legionnaires that were here in the front. And then the Night Castellan did do a significant amount of damage to the Night Desecrator. I guess the Night Castellan's going to have to charge into these Legionnaires because there's not room for him to charge the Night Desecrator. Alright, so charge and fight phase. The Night Castellan made its charge, took no damage in Overwatch, used its Titanic feat to stomp 4 of these Legionnaires to death. They didn't do a single thing in return to it, it just kind of laughed at them, I guess. They did pass morale, so that'll make it their turn. So Night Lords movement. So the remaining grouping here just kind of moved up a little bit. These guys fell back. The Obliterators are just going to hang out there and maybe they'll be the only ones that live, who knows. So for the Psychic phase, the Sorcerer is going to attempt to manifest Diabolic Strength on the Chaos Lord. Goes off on a 6. That's not a 6. Well, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That'll make it the Night Lord shooting phase. All of the infantry forces here on the ground, on the center area, managed to do a couple points of damage to the Breachers. The Obliterators managed to kill off the last Castellan robot. And the Knight Desecrator did 5 points of damage to the Knight Castellan. So that's always nice. So the charge phase, yeah, this Desecrator is definitely charging into the Knight Castellan. The Chaos Lord is going to charge into the Breachers, and the last group of Legionnaires is going to charge into the Vanguard. Awesomely, everybody made their charges. The Chaos Lord killed one of the Breachers and saved against the other one. This group of Space Marines killed off 6 of the Vanguard and didn't lose anybody. And the Knight Desecrator did 12 damage to the Castellan, and it did 5 damage back. So that was a nice happy thing. 12 damage is nothing to sneeze at. So that'll make it the AdMech turn for movement. The Dominus healed the Knight Castellan for a point of damage. Belisarius moved up a little bit. The Iron Strider just kind of pivoted. The Dune Strider moved over here, so they can probably take on the Obliterators over there. Vanguard are going to stay in combat, as is the Breacher. And the Warglaves just came down off the hill, coming in towards the backside. Probably to start, I don't know, mop-up operations, I guess. Still no Psychers, even though I keep looking for one. So, shooting phase. Alright, so the 2 Armiger Warglaves here managed to kill off the Sorcerer and the Master of Possessions. Between the Dune Strider and the Iron Strider, they killed off the Wounded Obliterator. Charge phase. I'll put the Warglaive here into these Legionnaires who are already in combat with the Vanguard. And we'll do the Vanguard combat and the Knight combat. Okay, the Warglaive made it into its combat. It killed off 3 of the Space Marines. So they turned around and killed off the Vanguard. The Knight Castellan did a whole lot of damage to the Knight Desecrator, but that Reaper Chainsword just destroyed it. It had 6 health left. I did 12. It was nice. Yeah, kind of hanging on by the skin of our teeth right at the moment here, Night Lords. It is your turn, so let's see what you can do with it. Movement. So the Obliterator is just getting closer to the action. The Knight Desecrator has moved off the hill, heading towards these 2 guys. The Chaos Lord is heading towards the Warglaive, and all the people that were in combat. Well, these guys are the only ones who are in combat. They're going to stay in combat, and these guys are just going to stay here and shoot at the Dominus. Well, these guys had Psychers, but all their Psychers died, so shooting phase it is. So every time I think that the Night Lords are just dead, screwed up, gonna die, yeah, they do weird things otherwise. So these guys actually managed to kill off the Dominus. And between the Obliterator and the Knight Desecrator, they killed the Ballistari. Okay, so that'll take us to the charge phase. So this will be the Chaos Lord into the Warglaive, and the Knight Desecrator into the Doom Strider back there. And then these guys are already in combat with the Warglaive. I'm starting to think that the Chaos Dice only really like to work when, like, all the odds are stacked against them. The Chaos Lord made his charge and just absolutely destroyed the Warglaive with his His Thunderhammer. 9th edition stats are ridiculous. Unfortunately, the Desecrator did not make his charge, so sad face. That'll definitely make it the Admech turn. Movement. The Warglaves are the only things that moved here. They just came down to this back opening to hopefully take out these guys. I don't know. The shooting phase for the Admech. Alright, so the undamaged Warglaive killed off the Chaos Lord. And then the damaged Warglaive and the Belisarius Call killed off the rest of the Legionnaires that were over here. This thing was unable to hit on the Obliterator at all. Charge phase, nobody's gonna charge. It'll be the Night Lord turn. So, movement. Alright, so the remaining Legionnaires just kind of scooted forward on the hill. The Knight has just moved up a little bit to get closer to the Doom thingy. And the Obliterator has also moved up to get closer. Alright, so Night Lord shooting. So it took the Night Desecrator and the Obliterator, but they did destroy the Dune Strider, I think is what that was. Charge phase, yeah, the Desecrator is going to charge into Belisarius Call. Alright, so another one for the firsts. The Night Desecrator made it in and killed Belisarius Call, which I've never seen in a game before. So that was kind of cool, kind of interesting. That makes it these guys' turn for movement. Alright, so these guys are just moved up to get closer, because why not? Might as well. So their shooting phase. So both armigers dumped everything they had into the 4 Legionnaires that were here. They're not dead. So the charge phase, where these guys charge into the Desecrator, and we see who's the better fighter. Well, they both made it in. They did 3 damage to the Desecrator, and then it pretty much destroyed one and made it not even usable for parts. Okay, that'll make it the Night Lord's turn. Movement, but who all is moving here? The Obliterator? Alright, he moved. So shooting phase, nobody can shoot because these two are in combat. Charge phase, he's too far away. So fight phase between these two. It's always like the last couple of rolls toward the end when the Chaos Dice are like, yeah, let's roll huge. Which is what they did. He actually managed to hit on all 4 of them. Only wounded on 3, but that was enough. Wow, alright, so the only thing that's left alive at the end of this game is the Night Desecrator and 1 Obliterator. So that means that the Night Lords have won. That was ridiculous. I do recall the olden days where it was not that much of a struggle, but I felt like I was definitely struggling. I felt like I was losing for most of the game, in fact, on the Night Lord side. But, the Desecrator definitely put in some work, because that's what it needs to do. So yeah, Night Lords win. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. This is the second of my last. Only these 2 nostalgia games, the Admech Necron and then this Night Lord Admech. So yeah, most of my games against Billy did not end this way. Some of them did, but most did not. I'm glad that this one turned out the way that it did because, yeah, again, I really feel like I had to work for that victory. Again, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks again.